Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear learners. How are you all? Hope you're doing fine. Welcome to my YouTube channel, that is Learn English Grammar with Qurat. Here I'm back with the new lesson, and today we are going to learn something very interesting, that is transitive and intransitive verb. So let's begin. Today we are going to learn about transitive and intransitive verb. What's the difference between transitive and intransitive verb? And the difference is quite easy. Transitive verb, let us first understand about transitive verb. A verb that requires an object to complete its action or to act upon. Or a verb is transitive when the action of the verb passes from the subject to the direct object. Well, it's very easy to understand that transitive verb is a verb that takes a direct object, okay, and intransitive verb is the opposite of transitive verb. Like we use complete and incomplete, and in is used as a prefix, so it's the opposite of transitive verb, and it's very easy to understand, and they're quite easy to learn. Intransitive verb is a verb that does not require an object to complete its action or to act upon. Means in transitive verb we require an object, okay, or we can say that a transitive verb needs an object to complete its action, or it requires an object, or we can add an object after after the verb, okay. So a verb that requires an object to complete its action or to act upon is known as transitive verb. Now the question arises, what is an object? So I've already discussed about object in the previous lecture. So simply let me recall that that object is something that receives an action. Anything that receives an action, simply we can say the receiver of an action is called object, okay. So for direct object and indirect object, we'll make a separate video. Till then we are reserved for transitive and intransitive verbs, and as I told you that transitive verbs are easy to understand because they take direct object, and intransitive verbs, they do not take a direct object, and action of the verb does not pass from the subject to the object, okay. Let's have some examples. Dear all, you can see for example with the illustration, and you can get an idea that all these verbs are transitive verb. For example, in the very first example, the cat is chasing the mouse. Action is taking place and the cat is the subject, okay, and chase is a verb, okay, and the verb really requires an object to complete its action, and the action of the subject is passing over to the object, that is mouse, okay, and the action is passing to the object. And moreover, most important thing is that we'll discuss in detail in further slide, in the next slide, that transitive verbs, they answer what or whom. So if you want to know whether the verb is transitive or not, you can ask what or whom. So whom does the cat chase, or whom is the cat chasing? The cat is chasing the mouse. What is the boy reading? He reads a book, okay. Or what does the boy read? He reads a book. So here action of the verb passes to the direct object, that is a book. So if we say he reads, so we can clearly add a direct object immediately after reads, okay. So it takes a direct object. Similarly, people eat apples. What do they eat? They eat apples, they eat mangoes, whatever. So we can add a direct object after the verb. They cut down trees. What do they cut down? And what are they cutting down? Whatever the question is, whenever the question is asking what, you can clearly guess and you can clearly make an idea that the verb is transitive. Of course, the action is taking place and the action is passing over to the object. Okay. Now let's go through some examples of intransitive verb. As I told you that intransitive verbs are also very simple and they are opposite of the transitive verb. Intransitive verbs do not require a direct object to complete their action, and keep that thing in your mind कि बहुत सारे लोगों के माइंड में एक कन्फ्यूजन चल रहा होता है कि जो ट्रांजिटिव वर्ब है उसके आगे एक ऑब्जेक्ट लगा होता है और इनट्रांजिटिव वर्ब के आगे एक ऑब्जेक्ट नहीं लगा होता. इट डजेंट मीन कि ऑब्जेक्ट लगा नहीं होता, इट मीन्स कि ऑब्जेक्ट लगाने की ज़रूरत नहीं पड़ती. ओके, फॉर एग्जाम्पल द सन शाइन्स. Here this is an example of intransitive verb and we do not need an object to complete the action of the verb, and the verb does not require an object to complete the action because the action is taking place but it is not transferring and it is not passing over to the object. Okay, the baby cries. Here cries is a verb, okay, and the action of the verb is not passing over to the object. Similarly, he waited, she smiled. So dear learners, these are the examples of intransitive verb. Okay, and intransitive verbs do not answer what or whom. Okay, as I told you that these are the verbs opposite of transitive verb, and they are intransitive because they do not take direct object. As you can see in the example that action of the verb is not passing over to the object. So they do not require an object to complete their action. Therefore, they are known as intransitive verb. Let's go to the next slide. I tried to make the idea very simple and very clear. Okay, so that's why I didn't add too many examples. Okay, I tried to make it brief. Transitive verbs, dear learners, as I told you that transitive verbs answer what or whom. For example, I gave him a book. I gave him a book. In this example, we have a direct object, that is book. Okay, and the action of the subject is passing over to the direct object, and you can answer what or whom. For example, what did I give him? Okay, what did I give him? Okay, so I gave him a book, I gave him a pen, I gave him a pencil, whatever the object is. Okay, if the sentence is answering what or whom, so you can clearly get an idea that the verb is transitive, because we can add I gave him what, so you can add a direct object after you can add a direct object after an indirect object, that is him, and after we can say verb gave. Okay, next example, they are watching a movie. Okay, what are they watching or what do they watch? Okay, so whatever they are watching, we can always add an object, okay, after the verb. So they are watching a movie. So here this is an example. These are the examples of transitive verbs. It's very simple. The transitive verbs are those verbs that require an object to complete their action. Most important thing, intransitive verbs cannot have an object. ये बात मैं आपसे पहले डिस्कस कर चुकी हूँ. एंड दे कैन नॉट बी चेंज्ड इनटू पैसिव. जो इंट्रांजिटिव वर्ब्स होते हैं उनका पैसिव नहीं बनाया जा सकता. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, ही गोज़ टू स्कूल. मोस्टली वी ट्राई टू मेक द पैसिव ऑफ that intransitive verb, like he goes to school. Whenever we put whenever we put a preposition before anything, okay, for example, we are having he goes to the market, he goes to school, whatever. So it will not be an object. If you want to make the passive of the sentence that he goes to school, you can't make, okay, because action is taking place, okay, but action is not action is taking place, okay, it is also passing over to something, but that something is not an object, it is a prepositional phrase. Keep that thing in your mind. So if you try to change it into passive, you cannot change it into passive, because in passive wise we always require an object for the subject and object replacement. So if we don't have an object, how can we change it into passive? So intransitive verbs cannot be changed into passive. Of course, they do not have an object. A very simple example, her phone rang. Here again, we do not need an object to complete the action. Her phone rang, because the action is not passing over to the object, it is just taking place, okay. Thank you so much, dear learners, for watching my video. If you like my video, then do subscribe to my channel. Especially newcomers are requested to subscribe my channel, and it would be a gesture of love, okay. I'll take it as a token of love, and as a token of love and care. So it's all your love, and thanks for watching my video, for liking my videos. If you have any question, you can ask in the comment box. I'll be there for you. And till then, Allah Hafiz and take care. We'll be back with the new video, inshallah.